say, I will come back definitely. So that's amazing. I'm Yonathan Parienti. I'm the former Vice President of JP Morgan Swiss. I've been working as well for Bank of China, for Julius Baer for almost 15 years, doing investment. I quit finance in November 2013 to build a social network for social good. So we have created an alternative to Facebook, but for positive and meaningful interactions on social media. We have launched last year, and this year it's live on the market, the first cryptocurrency supporting social good and economic and social inclusion. It's called HoryouToken. The aim of it is to be able to build a force for good for all the people that are advocating the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, leveraging the connectivity of social networks, but as well the beauty of blockchain in its aspect of decentralization and transparency, which are absolutely key factors if we want to make real impact for the change makers all over the world that are building solutions of tomorrow.
Wow, very interesting. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's start with the hardball. Let's start with Temels again. What does social impact and adoption mean to you?
I think that if we are more and more speaking about the dimension of impact, and as well a key word that is, popping out more and more is inclusion, is because we are really very far from the adoption of those principles in the real, economic system and capitalism system now. Coming from finance, what we can say is at the same time, we have been able to find hundreds of billions of dollars to buy out the financial system, while at the same time, if you go on the ground in many of those developing and emerging economies, you will see amazing people having great ideas, but they are really left aside from the ability to touch base with funding. So how can we find a way to connect and reconcile from one angle, dreams and aspirations that are capable to find the solutions of their current and local challenges, and at the same time, the system we are living in, where we are based, over overconsumption, speculations, and a certain dimension of things that are conducting us to live what we experienced in 2008-2009, which was a very significant threat for all our civilizational system and balance between economies. Until now, we are still experiencing the consequences of that financial crisis, which has not been solved. So the dimension of impact and blockchain is the key. Bitcoin, as it has been said, has been the opening. It has made the breakthrough. When I set up my social network for social good, the dimension of connectivity is absolutely essential, but the dimension of impact is what makes it meaningful and real. So the cryptocurrency I designed, HoryouToken, as a mechanism which is called proof of impact. Why? Because we have to make a proof that the impact is real, and blockchain enables that. The traceability, thanks to the blockchain technology, and it's based on top of Ethereum, so I'm happy as well to see that we have some people experts in the Ethereum blockchain that has many challenges to reach scalability and support, the mainstream adoptions of this movement. So the question is, how can we make this technology now, but in the hands of people, so many types of applications will be able to make their real impact? We can mention about healthcare, energy, so many topics and things that can be breakthrough for humanity. And at the same time, we have to remember that politicians have agreed on that 2030 agenda and those 17 goals. So what is the difficulty and challenge between that? From one angle, we have the politicians and the governments agreeing that we have to work together. From the other angle, we have us and many others, people from many continents that are innovators and that are questioning themselves to make an impact. So what is lacking in that? So I think the challenge is partnership, synergies, and as well from the private sector angle, we have to have the main companies, the big companies that have tremendous amount of cash, to give part of that to the change makers of today and tomorrow.
Thank you for change. In 10 years from now, what role will crypto and blockchain play?
Because artificial intelligence, because blockchain, because all of those things, you know, like, the question is about conservativeness versus creativity and innovation. What we see now is so many people that have been, you know, like, foreseeing the collapse of cryptocurrency being so happy. Why? Because it's an ego, because it's the ego battle. You know, innovations with humanity has always faced major resistance on every of its leading step forward and toward building human progress. If we would have waited for conservatism, we would not be flying planes, we would not be below water, in the space, and capable as well to cure illness on many aspects. So, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, I think what we are capable to expect is the best. The best is if we choose the path for meaning, purpose, contribution, supporting humanity to survive the challenges it's facing now, we are capable to build a world where every citizen will have access to knowledge, access to health, access to food, access to belonging to a community rich in its diversity. At the same time, if we are not embracing a global vision of inclusiveness, we are seeing right now the hardship of the rise of populism and nationalism spreading all over the world. We are starting as well to see the trading war and the rise of inflations and the protectionism aspect of measures. So all of that remembers for people that like history the old days of the past that were very gloom, dark, and where humans were fighting each other. So what lies ahead of us is a choice. What I believe is blockchain enables us to have the support of technology if we make the right choice. My aim and aspiration is to serve humanity, to embrace that movement, and I know, traveling in many parts of the world, that the new generation and many others, elder and wise, understand that this is now the time to join forces. We have to think less about our own personal dimension and try to see how our own personal dimension can support a more complex and universal vision where humanity belongs to the global future. I invite you to join our social network, share your passion, your project, what you think is meaningful. On our platform, we don't give likes, we give lights. The more lights you will get and collect, the more visible you will get within our worldwide community, and the more Horyou tokens you will receive. And that is applicable especially not for us that have, you know, like everything, access to everything, and the luxury of everything. This is especially dedicated for the people that have the dreams to live exactly where we are in terms of the standard of living, but they have their tradition and their culture, and they belong to other places with their roots. So social inclusion, it's about giving the same chance, like what we have received, without asking anything for it. So using blockchain with a mechanism where on every transaction it generates a force for good and go to the change makers that have been plebiscited and that will be plebiscited by us, the people, is the best chance to avoid corruption, to avoid leakage of goodwill and philanthropy and support. And in that regard, I've been thinking that over and over for several years now. The solution was brought by the blockchain technology. But the thinking is still in the end, and the essence of it, in the end of us, the humans. So the blockchain technology can be an amazing enabler if we use it for good.
you very much.